I'm going to turn that off, to another happy pod, the only podcast in the world. My name is Nathan. As always, I'm joined by some cunt. His name is Lawrence. Hello.
Hello.
No one cares because you need to tell us what this show is all about, Lawrence.
Nathan, this is the show where we get together, we talk about pop culture, we talk about movies, TVs. I did it again. We don't talk about TVs.
No, I got a new one recently, though.
We can talk about that if you want to.
Go on. It's just a TV.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Well, it's a good TV. It's a good size.
Yeah, it is. Let's just fucking do the thing.
We avoid all the toxic nonsense that so often clouds the discourse surrounding popular things.
You have no idea what you're saying. I don't. When you start that one, you have no idea where that's going to you.
I didn't.
I can tell.
I thought I was hiding it quite well, but clearly not.
No, not at all.
Damn, you could see it in my eyes. But anyway, yeah, we avoid toxic bullshit. That's what we do. We have a good time. Don't we, Nathan?
We do indeed. One of these, I reckon... Oh, wait, I've lost it. Here it is.
Another happy question. There's been no fucking around with you recently. It's been straight in. The theme song. Let's go.
Streamline it. Let's go, baby.
Okay, well, if you don't know Nathan, and for the people that may not know, what we do is I ask Nathan a question at the start of every episode. It usually pertains to the thing we're talking about today, that is Aftersun, the movie. So Nathan, the question I have for you is quite simply, I want to know, and so do the listeners, about your least favourite holiday you've ever been on.
In terms of like family holidays, I've only ever really been on one.
Call them out. Was it a bad one? Did Carl take you to Benidorm?
Well, we'll see, won't we?
We will see. So what I do is I ask Nathan that question. We'll touch back in with him at the end. I have not forgot to collect his answer. That is something we do to keep you listening and engaged. Lord knows you definitely all skip it. But anyway, Nathan, how are you today?
I'm good. I'm ready to discuss this movie.
It's been a long time trying to get you to well, not too long of a time to get you to watch this, but I feel like I've been bugging you about it recently.
Well, last week, famously, you fucked up.
I have no recollection of this. So.
I do, and the listeners do.
No.
We had to improvise at the last minute, throw together an episode where we just fucking went, I don't know, let's just talk about cinema, I guess, and see what the fuck happens. We actually had a fun little discussion, to be honest. It was quite good. And then we went through how you're a big wanky pretentious cunt who loves French noir cinema and all this, and how I just been entertained and a bit of a dumb cunt, really. But following on from that, we decided, well, let's see it through. Let's follow through on this. Let's watch one of Lawrence's wanky art movies and see what happens. And yeah, here we are.
I'm going to preface this podcast by saying, yesterday, Nathan texted me two things that were quite funny, given that I've already seen the movie. I'll reveal the other one later, but the main takeaway that you had was that you were just feeling very uneasy watching this movie.
I was, yeah, because I went into it knowing literally nothing, not a single. I knew the name Aftersun, and that was literally it. Not a single plot detail, literally nothing other than the name. Hadn't even seen a frame of footage. So
you like to go into movies quite blind like that, don't you?
Yeah. It's a better experience more often than not. But then throughout this movie, I was just feeling a sense of dread for the first half of it. I was like, oh, something bad's gonna happen, man. It's some shit's going on, and I really do not have the fucking mental capacity to watch that right now. So I just texted you straight up, yo, give me a trigger warning. Is this girl gonna get sexually assaulted? Because I just do not have the headspace to watch that right now.
I was stuck in that moment because I was like, look, she doesn't, but the film will still absolutely violently fuck you up towards the end. At least in my boat it did.
Okay. But you love this movie. You've been praising it to the high heavens. You've been saying it's reinvented cinema or whatever.
So I think it's a really interesting movie. I think it does, this is kind of what I was saying, because I think I brought it up a few times last week as well. This is kind of what I was saying. It's when someone can use film to do everything, when it fires on all cylinders, it's using the sound and the score, the cinematography, the performances, and it's not just relying on standard stuff. It's not relying on basic coverage of like a mid shot. I haven't seen something put together like this in a while, and I think if I was the person making it, for half of it, putting it together in the editing process, I would have been like, is this good? I don't know. I don't know how it will land. I find it, I've always said I like a bold swing, and I think although this doesn't maybe present itself as like a bombastic fucking swing, it's definitely a fucking brave movie that could easily, and this is the directorial debut, I think it easily could have tanked this woman's name if it hadn't been received the way it was. But anyway, where are you at with it?
I've also looked up nothing about like the movie in terms of like themes analysis and all that sort of shit. I've left it completely just my own reaction to the movie. But what I have gone onto Rotten Tomatoes and just taken a look at the reception. And you are right, it is being received quite well. which leads me to believe that maybe there's just something broken within me, because what the fuck was this movie? Was it a movie? This was the fuck. Okay, you know how I feel about the movie Boyhood.
Yes, I do, yeah.
It's genuinely, for me, the worst movie I've ever seen, in my personal opinion, okay?
Yeah.
This is getting close to Boyhood.
Oh, give off.
No,
there is something broken in you.
This was like, when you said, like, you know, it's firing all cylinders, it's hitting cinematography, sound design, acting, fucking, like, what? And I hate to say that, especially on this podcast, but, like, I genuinely do not understand what the fuck I watched yesterday. I tell you what, I made a fucking point as well to not touch my phone throughout the movie. The one time I did, I paused it so I could text you, and then I pressed play again and put my phone back away. I didn't touch my phone for the entire movie because I wanted to stay engaged and actually take in the story. But what story?
I'm going to take a moment to diagnose you here and say that you have...
If you say some fucking Iron Man shit right now...
No.
Okay.
I'm gonna say that you have... I'm gonna define this as best as I can, and it would be popcorn brain.
No, this is not popcorn brain, because there was nothing to this movie. It was just a shit family holiday for 2 hours.
Genuinely tell me, no bravado for the podcast, is that genuinely all you thought about it?
It was... No. Okay, no, it's not. It was... sorry, yes, you're absolutely right. It was a shit family holiday that was also sprinkling in little footage of trying to be something clever and giving you the absolute fucking bare minimum hints of something else along the way, so that when you don't fully understand what's going on, you feel like a fucking dumb cunt, and therefore the fucking makers and fans of this movie can feel elitist because, oh, we get it, we get the real cinema, we know what this is, but you don't get it because you're a dumb cunt, even though they give you like fucking a quarter of a scene of what is actually going on, and then be like, great, have fun. I don't get it, Lawrence. I don't get it.
It's hard to talk to you sometimes.
It made me angry.
Did it? I couldn't tell.
It did, yeah.
I feel like what you're having is an incredibly rational stance oh, right. I don't even know where to begin. This is like Maverick all over again. This is when I present you with something good and you go, ugh.
Maverick was at least fun to watch.
I think your stance that this is intentionally
elitist.
I don't think it is at all.
I do.
I just think it's for a different audience than you. Genuinely,
maybe,
because like you've said this, and we said this, and I don't want to regress, because last week I think we genuinely touched on some really interesting shit. Right? Oh, you've said so many things.
Pick one.
Right. All right. I'll tell you what. Here's my take on the movie. The movie, right, at the broadest fucking sense, yeah, it is all in all about a shit holiday.
Yes.
But it's also
a shit holiday where suddenly 20 years in the future for no reason.
But that's the fucking reason. It's the point.
What is the point? You say it's the point, but what is the point?
I'll go on a spiel here, but don't interrupt me because I want to tell you the spiel.
I'm muting my mic.
No, don't mute your mic.
No, I'm muted.
He's muted his mic. Right, this film, to me at least, and this could be wrong. This is maybe not the way Charlotte Wells, the writer and director, intended it to be seen, because she's been on record as saying, like, the only thing she's really given away about this movie is that it's about her relationship with her dad, who killed himself. So it's like a personal thing for her. But anyway, I went into this, and I was like you. I exactly was like, it gets to the point where I'm going, is there a plot? What the fuck is going on? What is the hype surrounding this movie? But... and this is where I think it does come together again on a second viewing, and I also think that I definitely missed shit on the first thing, as I'm going to say now, whether you like it or not, you absolutely fucking well did. This is a movie about a daughter and her father, a father who is immensely struggling, both financially and mentally, and is worried that he's basically given his daughter nothing. So the last thing he could do for her, I don't know whether he goes into this holiday thinking that he will take his own life. I don't know if that's something that he's pre-considered, but it reads very much as a kind of exercise in memory. And the way I want to say this, and please feel free to interrupt me. I know I said don't interrupt me, but if you're not following, his mic is still muted. He's gesturing. This film is kind of a retrospective look as Sophie, as an adult who has recently become a mother. It's a retrospective look into her looking upon the last memories she has of her dad before he took his own life at the end of that holiday, and almost kind of recontextualizing like how she was unable to see the suffering that he was having, how it's definitely in line with some suffering that she is currently feeling. And I think the cinematography and the way that works is it's a movie that is very sporadic. I'll give you that. Like, you can't tell what this movie is doing, and that's because it is entirely based on memory. Sophie is watching these memories back, and they are obviously triggering memories for her, not in the sense of like she's affected by them, but they're triggering other memories. It's a sensory experience, and that's why sometimes the scenes that connect to each other don't necessarily align, but then like they're connected by like a sound. Like there's banging on the top of the pool roof, and then it cuts into the banging of her trying to get into her hotel room, and it's her piecing stuff together. And I think that like the camera work does that, because it's a sensory thing. A lot of the time she'll remember something like the dirt on a table, which is reflecting her dad in it, more so than she'll just remember like a straight shot of her dad. I don't know. It's because it is an absolutely fucking extremely complex movie to sum up. Right, you can't, because it is, I think, deeply personal. But I think to say that it's nothing other than a shit holiday is like beyond reductive.
I don't know this director. I don't know her life. I don't know her story. Don't know anything about it. Okay?
Yeah.
If it's a deeply personal movie, great. I'm sure it's great for her. I don't know her. I don't know her personal life. I don't know that her dad killed himself. I don't know any of that going into this movie. And should I need to enjoy a movie?
No, absolutely not. But I think it comes across. I don't think you need to know it to understand this movie is about fathers, daughters, and depressive episodes and life. Like, I don't think. I think that comes across clear as day.
Not for me, mate.
What did you think you were watching in like the scenes where he's crying, keeled over, and he's like, spitting on his reflection in the mirror?
Okay.
Like,
I was like, obviously this guy has issues. Maybe he's depressed, but I don't know. Do you maybe want to communicate that to me? You don't need to.
Was it not obvious?
No, it wasn't. This is the thing. This is the shit that pisses me off. You sitting there and saying, was it not obvious? No, Lawrence, it wasn't.
Did you need him to turn around and say, by the way, I'm depressed?
No, I fucking did. I'm getting pissed off now. I didn't need him to look into the barrel of the camera and say, I'm depressed, okay? But what I do need is more than one fucking sporadic scene of the guy fucking sitting naked on the bed crying, okay? Literally one fucking shot, and then also... there was one sequence of him maybe in a nightclub or maybe dancing somewhere. I don't know what the fuck it was, but it was cut throughout the movie. And then it showed up again at the end. And still, I do not have a clear image of what that is. And that was cut throughout the movie and placed in here and there. It's clearly of some kind of importance because it shows up all the way throughout here. But they never show me what that is. They just keep coming back to it. They keep saying, oh, this is something important. And then at the end, we see that his adult daughter is there as well. But maybe that's not actual reality because, well, from what you're saying, I guess he's dead at this point. I don't know. I need more.
Did you genuinely not pick up on the fact that he's dead at the end of the movie?
No.
I don't know how you watch movies. I
thought that watch it. I don't know what you want from me. I sat down and I watched it. I watched the movie.
I know you. I know that you... I don't understand how you would have watched this and not... Like, that is quite clearly... I get when it's cut in and like...
Right, I'm a fucking dumb cunt, clearly, all right? So please explain to me that any significant scene which indicates that this guy's dead? Was it him walking through the door at the end?
I think the entire movie obviously leans into the point that it's uneasy and that something is happening. He has a very clear line about how he didn't think he'd make it to 30. He definitely won't make it to 40. The fact that she's looking over the footage, and as she looks over the footage of her dad on the camcorder in the modern day stuff, I guess, she's crying.
She crying?
Yeah.
She looks pissed off to me.
Well, she probably is an element of pissed off.
I thought their relationship was strained. I thought something had happened. They weren't talking anymore. And the reason I thought that is because, again, that fucking nightclub sequence, whatever it was, she showed up and they seemed to be arguing. They seemed to have some kind of altercation, and she pushed him away from her and stuff.
See, the fact that they intercut that, and it is intercut throughout the movie, but it does find its significance in the last 10 or so minutes of the film. And again, I don't know if this is right, but this is my interpretation of it, is that it's essentially the last moment that she... This is such a fucking complex thing to explain. Keep in mind that the whole thing is a fucking exercise in memory and reminiscing, or not reminiscing, because that's
okay,
nice.
But see, this is what pisses me off as well, because this thing that you're saying about the whole thing is an exercise in fucking in memory, and it's all the reason it's insequential is because it's all based on memory. Okay, that I never picked up on that. Okay, I guess that makes sense now that you're saying and explained it to me.
Is the theme not introduced when, I don't know if it opens like this, but it's at least very early on in the movie that it's revealed that Sophie is watching back, and adult Sophie is watching through. Surely that introduces the theme of looking back on something.
I don't remember an adult Sophie watching through. For me, what I remember adult Sophie...
That's her. That's her that watches the TV.
Yeah, right at the end.
No. It's in the middle as well. It's in the middle and it's at the it's in the beginning, middle, and end. I'm fairly confident.
Okay, well, I only picked up on the end. For me, I guess I just thought that was a random woman who showed up.
Were you texting me?
No, I wasn't. I wasn't even on my phone.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, keep in mind it is a thing in memory. I view that kind of nightclubby sequences. That there's a kind of a motif in the movie about dancing. At one point, Callum refuses to dance with his daughter.
Refuses
when
to
it's
do karaoke.
It's the karaoke, yeah.
Also, karaoke choice. Losing My Religion, bit on the nose.
How is it on the nose? What is it on the nose of if you didn't fucking understand any of it, Nathan?
Losing her faith in her dad.
Right. Well, your one critical analysis is sound. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't have the right to call anything on the nose after your take on this movie. Fuck you.
Yeah, because me and the rest of the masses are just dumb cunt and we don't get real cinema.
But it's not the masses, is it? Because you've said it yourself. This movie has been well received and understood.
by you and all your mates.
But it's not just by me and all my mates.
If, fucking hell, if you showed this, this isn't making money.
I don't know how true that is, to be honest. I don't know.
I doubt a large number of people have seen this movie. But
probably not. But that's because it's not the movie that people click on. But it's the one that I think when people click on, they'll be rewarded, especially if they're interested in experiencing stuff outside of normality. I get it's not the most accessible movie in the world, but it shouldn't have to. There comes a point where I think hands of audience members need to stop being held, and they need to watch it and have a thought about it. Do you see where I'm coming from? And I don't mean that to sound knobby.
Yeah, no, okay, fair enough. Yeah, fair point. I do see what you're saying there, but I'm not someone who needs their handheld, though. And I struggled with this movie.
Yeah.
You're saying I'm a dumb cunt.
No, I'm not, because that's why I interrupted you earlier and said I know you, which is why I'm so surprised you didn't pick up on any of that. At least some of it. I'm genuinely shocked that some of those things didn't come through to you. Well, I have no idea where to go, because I can't ask you an opinion on something you don't fucking have a thought on.
No, try, go.
You said about the cinematography and stuff. What is it that you didn't like about it? There
was nothing I didn't like about it. There was just nothing that stood out and blew my mind. There's some good shots, some great shots even. But there's nothing that was fucking, this redefined cinema.
See, I don't know if they're necessarily great. My enjoyment of the cinematography is that it's kind of not perfect. Because it's not, it's if you worked out, the amount of it that's camcorder footage, it's probably less than, fucking 10% of the actual movie.
Yeah, probably.
What I like about it is that it's not perfect. People aren't framed center frame. It's not got the fucking everyone has a wank every time they fucking pull out a yellow light. There's none of that stuff really. It's not flashy or impressive. It's just
it's a bit samey.
I think that's a location problem because I agree with you.
L on Turkey. It's a bit like, I think there's a lot of shots which are like, oh, here's someone in frame, they're slightly off center, and we're also gonna very slowly pan towards the left or right as we're filming this, and also very slowly zoom in.
If this is cinematography that you thought was a bit samey, what the fuck do you think of 90% of movies that are all shot the exact same fucking way?
I don't think movies are shot the exact same way as this.
A lot of, like, high budget's the wrong word, but a lot of, like, common stuff. A lot of, like, stuff that is popular or accessible to masses.
You can say Marvel, it's fine.
No, because I genuinely don't just mean Marvel.
I think a lot of stuff in Marvel is shot like shit.
Yeah.
It's just standard fucking two shots or whatever. I'm not saying anything in fucking Marvel is better than this.
No, I know. I'm not trying to frame you as saying, like, this is worse than Marvel or whatever. Like, what I'm saying is, I don't know, like, if you, not that you have a problem with it, because that's not what you're saying, but, like, if you think that this is samey, I don't know how, like, do you not see that everywhere else? Do you not think that at least this is trying to do something more interesting? And yeah, it does become a bit samey and a bit one note at times, and especially because a lot of it's set in the same, like, 3 locations, like the bar in the hotel pool, and then the room. It can come across as a bit samey, but, like, do you not see it as though, like, at least it's, like, trying to adhere to the theme it's set up, which is, like, sensory? A lot of the time you're focused on a dirty table or a reflection in a mirror, or, like, an offset of, like, we're looking at the camcorder but not what the camcorder's shooting. Like, do you not find that stuff at least, like, it's attempting to do something more interesting than the norm?
Yeah, I just don't give a shit though. Like, I'm sorry. I know this makes me sound like such a cunt, but I don't care. I don't
think it does make you sound like a cunt, because I went into this knowing this is either gonna hit for you or miss for you. I didn't think it would miss to this extent.
I'm interested to know why on earth you thought this would hit for me.
It's tough because you have 2 modes for me, or at least the way I perceive your film enjoyment. And tell me if I'm wrong, because this is just how I see you to a degree. And we spoke about this again last week. Like, there are elements of you where you are like, and same with me, but like, oh, I want to just kind of like switch off my brain and enjoy some stuff. And there are other elements of you where you like to, like, feel the emotional weight of stuff. Like, I would argue, again, correct me if I'm wrong, the main reason you're interested in Star Wars, and for a long portion of time one of your favorite characters was Anakin, was because of the emotional fucking plight that he goes on in, like, across games, movies, TV, fucking comics, everything. So I don't know, I just thought an element of you would be like, not to draw like all the both fathers in this, but like an emotional resonance is something that tends to stick with you, which is why I thought this genuinely might be something that you would look at and go, I'm not in a rush to put this on again. I've watched it twice in a month, and for me it's heavy and I don't want to watch it again. At least no time soon.
Yeah.
But like, I don't think this has to be anyone's favourite film for them to still view it as like something, like a really interesting body of work.
My issue with Boyhood is that it's not a movie, okay?
Yeah, okay.
It's not a movie. It's a series of fucking home videos that are for some reason scripted and starring Patricia Arquette and fucking stitched together over fucking 7 years for no reason, just to be a gimmick. And then gone, here you are, here's a movie. It's just like, say, fucking home videos, okay?
It's they marketed it with the, look at us, we kept the same actor that filmed across like 20 years or some shit.
Yes, exactly. And because of that, there's no story. To me, this was similar. When you're saying I enjoy stuff with, like deep emotional connection and that sort of thing, you're absolutely right. But part of that is a good story that goes along with it. For this, there was no story for me. And I know about like fucking, I get what you're saying, like the sensory elements and all this afterthought and all this shit. Okay, I get that. But the movie, as it's presented, it's not a story for me.
The stuff that I was appreciating, when I say like the sensory stuff, like you shouldn't excuse that for it having like a thin plot, because I absolutely agree with you. That stuff I think is just really awesome directing, and like not behind the scenes stuff, because like no one else was making those decisions, but like I just think it's a good technically made movie. The cinematography works for what it's trying to do. I think the sound and the score, I think the score is fucking lovely. Like I've just had the score on while I've worked before. It's very good to just like turn your brain off and
couldn't pick out a single score from a single fucking piece of music from this movie.
See, now I know you're trying to piss me off.
I couldn't though. Oh, sorry, Chumbawamba. Early fucking noughties hits. Chumbawamba. And losing my religion.
They are in it. To be fair, I'll give you that. You picked up 2 there. It's better. You need to give yourself more credit. No, because I know what you're saying, but for me, I think the story in this is it pairs with the sense of dread, and which I know you definitely felt, obviously.
Yeah.
It pairs with it does feel long, but I know that at the end of this movie that I'm not fully understanding, I know that this dread hasn't been for nothing. I know that something's going to happen.
But then it doesn't.
But I think it does. That's where I think your media literacy has failed you, Nathan. I think it's quite clear.
Because I still don't understand, like, when did he kill himself?
Well, it's so ties into the sensory thing, but there's not a moment we see him fucking get the belt out. Like, you don't get that in the movie because it's very much implied. He says goodbye to his daughter, and the tape cuts out, and that's when we see it pan round and reveal that it's Sophie.
Yes.
As an adult, and that's obviously the tape has ended. Now
yes.
you're 80 years old. You remember those tapes and when they would just stop, and that's the sign that you need to wind them back and start them again.
Yeah.
So when it stops, we know that's it. We know the holiday has ended. That to me is a clear sign that she's watching it back, and that's where it ends. When we pan round to her, she doesn't get up to rewind it back. She doesn't get up to put in a new tape. That for me is quite clearly signifying the end of it. Then it pans back round again, and I think that's my interpretation. That might not be correct, but I think when it pans round again, and we now see, you know, it's a bit of an arty fucking shot, but when it does the 360 pan round, and this time we're now watching Callum put his camcorder away, and we're seeing for him what happened after that footage where he turns around and walks out, and you see him walk through the doors and he goes into that nightclubby rave stop. Yeah, when you see that, for me, it ties back to what happened like 10 minutes prior in the fact that he's like encouraging Sophie to dance. He's getting up. He failed her earlier with the karaoke. He's now getting up, trying to make her dance. She's not having it. She's grown distant because she notices something's wrong with her dad this holiday. And for me, when you intercut them two together, it's adult Sophie. Like you said, they're having some sort of altercation in the nightclubby version of it. The music turning very orchestral and a different version of that. Is it a David Bowie song? Oh, it's Under Pressure. It is David Bowie. Again, Under Pressure. You want to talk about On the Nose? That's the On the Nose one. The song is called Under Pressure.
Under Pressure's Queen.
Oh, it is Queen, isn't it? Yeah, you're right. I apologise, everyone. It's still called Under Pressure.
Yeah, but it's not by David Bowie.
I got it a bit right. Fuck off.
Okay.
But no, I think so. It cuts together with young Sophie not wanting to dance and older Sophie grabbing onto him in the nightclubby sequence, which is clearly something she can't fucking do, right? Because it's designed to be... He's not in a nightclub. It'd be very weird if he just arrived at a nightclub. Again, it's the sensory thing. He's not there. That's clearly him. I can't decide if it's like some sort of like afterlife situation or whether it's a situation...
The fact that you've been trying to explain to me how he's dead for 5 minutes and I still don't fucking get it. Because like none of what you're saying to me is showing me he's dead. This is the thing. It's all this fucking abstract interpretations. And that's fine. That's absolutely fine. Just don't get fucking mad at me when I don't get it. And I don't mean you specifically. I mean fucking film cunts, okay? Don't act like I'm a dumb cunt because I didn't go, oh, obviously he fucking killed himself, when it's the most fucking intricate, fucking abstract interpretation shit ever. It's not obvious, all right? Sorry, I didn't fucking study film for 6 years.
Neither did I.
The fucking ins and outs of Tarantino's fucking arse crack to know that this guy killed himself because he walked into a fucking nightclub. This is why this shit pisses me off.
But it's... Again, I think that boils down to, and again, I'm not saying you necessarily, but I think that boils down to a handheld thing. If it's not said on screen, if it's not so blatantly obvious, like it removes, but the ambiguity of it. If it was spelled out to a finer degree, it removes interesting elements of the movie, which allow people to talk about
what,
it.
Your audience knowing what the fuck it's about.
No, because most people got that. Genuinely, most people got that.
I can't disagree with that because fair enough, but I don't know. This is why I have a problem with this shit, though. Can you see at least where I'm coming from, or do I
can see where you're coming from, but I get where you're coming from. My thing is though, is that I just think it's a boring way to watch movies. I genuinely think if everything has to be understood and so clear.
But I'm not saying that.
Then what are you saying?
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is this is fine. This is fine. You can have this. Fucking take it. Run with it. I don't want it, but fucking take it and run with it, alright? Just don't get mad at me when I don't fucking get it, alright? Don't act like this is for everyone. Don't act like this is what all of cinema should be.
No, I didn't.
Because it shouldn't.
I never said that. I said it last week. You have to meet things on their own terms, and I also said that I think this is this is a big swing. For me, it hit. For you, it missed, and that's not a problem. I'm just saying that I think I don't know. I think maybe I'm saying you're stupid for not getting it, but I also think you're saying. Up until what you just said, it came across as if you're saying, like, that's not clear. When I think it is. I think for a lot of people that is clear. And it's not like, it's not pretentious. It's not pretentious, and it's not like I didn't have to reach into a fucking well to pull out an abstract thing. I'm not mining the source for things. I'm not like pulling at threads and hoping that I find some emotional resonance there. Because I think it's all there to be had. I don't think that this movie is like vague and like, well, no, maybe you can figure out what you think it means. I don't fucking know. Like, I don't think it's like that at all. I think it's clearly communicating one thing. And I think that, like, I don't know. I just think that's clear. Does that make sense?
Yes. I disagree. I don't think it's clear at all.
And this is where we shall end the podcast.
And I guess that makes me a dumb cunt.
But I never said that. You said that.
I'm sorry. I just don't think it's clear. And I think
That's
that,
fair.
yes, this has a strong reception, but I think the majority of people who've seen this film are fucking film bros.
I don't think you're wrong in that sense. Yeah, because but I don't know. I don't know.
I don't think this movie would have mass appeal at all.
No, because there's no fucking room for it.
Exactly. See, and apparently that's a fucking dirty word. That's having mass appeal is somehow a bad thing.
I don't think I'm saying that that's a bad thing at all. I'm saying that there is no room for it because a lot of people are unwilling to expand beyond their fucking horizon. I think a lot of people would be scared to watch this at fear of not getting it.
But do you not think there's an issue, though, as to why people feel like that when this is what they're presented with?
Yeah, and I completely agree because we spoke last week about like gatekeeping and like how a lot of film bros will be like, you should watch this, and then when people don't get it, they're like, I knew you wouldn't get it, you MCU fucking nerd. Like, I get
Exactly.
that. I totally get all of that.
Exactly like you've done this episode.
No, because I've just explained why I like it. I don't think you're an idiot for not liking it or not getting it. I just think you being reductive and saying
I'm not being reductive.
But you saying it's not clear, like and not communicating.
But it's not.
I
It's
think
not
no.
clear
I
to
think
me.
I think
It's
it.
not
I
clear
think
to
it
me.
is.
It's
But
not clear to me.
Right, and that's fine. But it's not. It's also not for you. It's not aimed at you. Like you said it yourself. You're not the target for this.
So who is this aimed at?
For people that like this kind of stuff. For people that like introspective and ambiguously ended kind of emotional stuff that is well directed and focuses less on a plot but more on a sensory experience of directorial skills and what film can be beyond mid-shots and like half-baked jokes. That's who I think this is for. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, and I also don't think there's anything wrong with not liking this. Do you see where I'm coming from, or where I'm trying to come from?
I do.
I feel like last week and this week defeated you. The 1-2 punch of us being open and accepting, and then this episode following that last week.
It's just something I struggle with. And I feel like this is a big part of why I kind of like changed the way I watch and enjoy film as well. I feel like this sort of shit is a big part of it because
What, like movies like this, or?
if I'd have watched this movie, I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago, I'd have probably said I loved it. I'd have probably pretended that I fucking got it first time. And then read up all the fucking interpretations, like, oh yeah, I got that. And all that sort of shit. And I'd have been like, oh, if you don't like this, you're a cunt or whatever. That would have been me. Like, I would have been that guy.
Do you think that's what I'm doing?
A little bit.
Define.
I can't.
I mean, I said this earlier in the podcast. At least I'm fairly certain I did. I didn't get this fully the first time round. I think my enjoyment in this movie came from the fact that, and again, this isn't the right way to do it, and your way isn't the right way to do it. Like,
there's no right way to watch or enjoy a film.
Exactly, but I think to sum it up, I think I watched this movie and it didn't 100% land for me, and then my enjoyment came from yesterday watching it again and going, this is the stuff I missed, and this is the stuff that I think is interesting, and I found it a really enjoyable experience because I knew there was something there because I like technically the way it was made, and then I thought the plot was lacking, so I watched it again, and the plot is still somewhat lacking, but I think I've discovered that it's not a movie that really centers around having a necessarily just a straightforward plot. I think it's a movie that's more about the themes that it explores. If you watch this for the first time and you never want to watch it again, that's fair. But then I think that distinguishes it from the people that this is for and this is the people that it's not for, if that makes sense. And that sounds gatekeepy, but like you've said it yourself, this isn't really aimed at you. This is something that you wouldn't necessarily pick out or want to watch.
Yes, I see what you're saying. If you watch this and don't engage with it, fine, it's not for you. Move on.
Yeah.
But then my issue, and I'm just having a fucking fight with a hypothetical scenario here, so I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about clearly. But like,
it's not hypothetical though. This happens all too often on Twitter.
Exactly, yeah. But it's just my issue is that like then I say it's hypothetical, but I know people who would say this. Like if some of your mates on Twitter listen to this podcast, I say they're your mates. That's just a fun thing.
You just call them all the film bros. I know all of them apparently.
If they like listen to this podcast, they like majority of them would be like, fucking this guy doesn't get true cinema. Fucking hell, Jesus Christ. Oh, I don't know. I just don't care, man. Just fucking. Oh.
This just in, the movie podcast where Nathan just doesn't care.
I do care. I do. This just.
I know where you're coming from.
When you say like the plot is thin, for me it's fucking non-existent. But all right, Finn, whatever. Let's go with that. That's my biggest issue. That's my biggest struggle. For me to get on board, I need something to connect with, and that 9 times out of 10 has to be a plot. If there's no story for me to enjoy, then why am I here? Just to watch a shit family holiday?
So like a plot is your access point, whereas the reason I think I've enjoyed this is because I care less about that and I care more about the film being interesting.
See, that just sounds so cunty to me.
No, but I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. Because
it sounds like you are.
No. If that's how I'm coming across, that's genuinely not what I mean at all. Like what I'm trying to say. I'm not very fucking articulate, but I'll try and fucking say it better. What I'm trying to say is like people go to the movies for different things. People enjoy filmmaking, quote unquote, as a craft. Like the people will go and see it and go, right, there are cinematographers that will go and watch it for the camera work. There are editors that will go and watch it to see how well it's cut together. Yeah. There are directors that will go, what choices were made here? How's the framing? How does everything connect? And there are casual moviegoers, which you said last week you identify more so as recently. And there are the people like me that I think care less about having a good time rather than seeing what the movie does.
What does that mean though? What it does?
Well, like the how it all connects together, how the movie, as I've said numerous times across the last couple of weeks, how a director can use every tool at the disposal.
But surely they're not though. If they're more focused on, like you say, whatever it does, rather than having a plot. And...
Well, all right, but then my rebuttal to that would be, I would rather the movie was well directed, had good cinematography, was lit nicely, had great performances. I would rather all of those 4 things and it not have a plot than a lot of stuff that you see which has 2 of those things at best, including a plot.
No, I wouldn't. Not me.
But that's what I'm saying. That's the thing that you think I'm sounding cunty for. I'm saying it's not wrong to want all 5 of those things. It's not wrong to only give a shit about having one of those things.
Do you not feel like this movie would be better if it actually had a plot, though?
No. I genuinely, and I know that sounds fucking idiotic.
Why?
But because for me, I think it lands on a thematic level. I think it gets across, at least for me, what I think the movie is trying to say about parenthood, about the frailty of life, about like depression, about all manner of things. And those are not necessarily things that I can't connect with most of those fucking things. But I like the way that the story tells it. I like, it's not the story. I like the way that the movie makes me feel that. Like this for me felt reminiscent of childhood holidays that I'd been on with like the fucking shit armbands. It felt nostalgic to be watching something through the lens of like a fucking 90s video camera. It felt, I don't know, the whole thing to me just felt
I feel like the reason
interesting.
It felt like that is because it was.
Yeah.
Like it was a film, like it was a home video of a fucking late 90s, early noughties family holiday.
Yeah, but I also think, like, if that's its realism, I also think thematically, the scenes where we see Callum running into the ocean and there's a moment where you think, like, did he die? Is he dead? Did he just kill himself? And I think those moments are communicated well because the sound effects rise up and drown out the noise of the ocean. I think the moments where you get to see Callum crying on the bed, when you remember that this is a memory exercise for Sophie, recalling events that happened to her, I think that's the most obvious in indication that Callum is upset. And for me, I think it's quite clear that that probably didn't happen. It's just how she's seeing her father must have reacted, because it's raw, he's naked, he's crying. It's not something that Callum probably just did. I think, I don't know, those are the main reasons I like it, because I don't think it needs a plot to succeed on telling me what it's trying to tell me. And I just think sometimes that's interesting.
Maybe I'm being gatekeeping now, but I feel like...
How have we 180'd this up?
I feel like the most basic thing a movie needs is a plot.
I totally disagree.
Well, what is a movie?
I know the trap you're trying to get me to fall into.
I'm not trying to get you to fall into any trap. I'm not doing cunty shit like that. I'm just trying to like figure this out from your point of view.
Okay. It's kind of similar to how I described it. I think a movie ultimately is a story. And I know you're going to say, yeah, stories have plots and blah,
I'm not
blah,
going
blah.
to say anything. I'm just letting you explain. I'm not
Okay.
trying to fucking Ben Shapiro gotcha. Yeah, I'm not trying to do any shit like that.
Nathan has destroyed me with facts and logic. I am a college student. No, right, okay. I think a movie it can be a million different things. It can be the culmination of multiple stories. It can be I think at its core crux, it is a story, and that story can be told in a multitude of ways. It can be told in a linear plot. It can be told in a series of fucking images that spell out a feeling. I think it can be something that thematically resonates with you. I think you can look at Everything Everywhere, for example. There's like multiple times where the camera is just stuck on Michelle Yeoh's face in a close-up and she's crying and light flashes around her. I think if you took that one shot out of the context of the movie, it still tells a story, because you're seeing a middle-aged woman in pain as lights flash all around her. You're left with questions. You want to know more. I think I'm not
watching that shot for 2 hours though, am I?
No, but then that's the thing. That's when it's not for you. That's not where your enjoyment comes from. For me, I like to watch, obviously not that one shot for 2 hours, because that probably would be a bit fucking extended. But what I'm saying is, I like that. The vibe of that, I can get on board with that for 2 hours. And if that's not your entry point, if that's not how you like to digest a movie or an experience or something, then there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I guess that's where we differ. And we said, again, this is nothing new. We said all this last week. Did I answer your question? I don't know. Destroy me with facts and logic.
That's not what I'm trying to do. I was genuinely wanting to know. Because to me, like, a movie is a story. And if you don't have a story, then it's not a movie.
I think that your definition of how a story can be told, you're looking at it through a plot-only lens. And if it doesn't have a plot, it fails to tell a story. I don't think that's the case. I think...
Can you give me an example of another movie without a plot that's enjoyable for you?
Not off the top of my head, but okay. I'm sure there's some, but I can't... off the top of my head, for being conscious of time, I can't just pull an example out of my arse. No, probably this is what I would say. But I don't know. Look... At the risk of being negative, is there anything you liked?
I don't know, man. It was gay for a second.
It was a bit gay. For a few moments, it was a bit gay.
No, for like a second.
No, that was a bit gay. Then Sophie's gay.
There was two seconds of it being gay, and then I was like, well, maybe it's interesting. No, I'm sorry. There wasn't, because again, I couldn't connect with it.
You don't need to be sorry for not liking it. Like,
there
was
fine. Nothing for me to connect with at any point. Like, I was like, I guess I kind of liked fucking Sophie and Callum, I guess. But then, I don't know, it also just felt intrusive at parts. I shouldn't be watching this.
Saying that as something you didn't like, I think that's not necessarily a negative. I think that's probably intentional.
Probably.
Because when you think about it, you're watching, like, when it boils down to it, you're watching the intimate last holiday of a family.
Apparently. I didn't get that, but apparently.
That's the one thing I'm genuinely confused about. Like,
I said it earlier, but I'm genuinely confused how it fucking came across. But I don't know. I guess I'm just a dumb cunt. Anyway, I didn't enjoy this movie. It's not for me. Lawrence loved it, and it's the second coming of cinema. So there you go.
I really liked it.
I know, and that's okay.
Right, play the theme song, Nathan. Another happy question. If you have skipped this part, fair enough. Basically what I do at the start of every episode is I ask Nathan a question. Today we were talking about Aftersun, which, as we have already spoken about, tells the story, or Nathan would argue does not tell the story. of a holiday, a pretty shitty holiday. So the basic question I had for Nathan was, what is your least favourite holiday?
In terms of family holidays, earlier I said I only had one. That's a lie. I've had two. Abroad family holidays anyway. We always had shitty like camping ones or whatever. In 2001, I and the family went to Mallorca.
Yeah.
2 weeks. We stayed at a resort very much like this, where there was just like shit entertainment, like a group of people trying to get you up to sing a song and all this type of shit. Just like,
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, as a kid I loved it. It was a great fun. Today I would have hated it. Probably no, I'd probably have fun with it.
You got up at the wedding. You had a little dance at the wedding.
I did indeed.
I think get a few drinks down you. I think you'd be as a child. You'd be fine.
I'll have a shandy, please. That was me at the bar. The reason why this is out of the two, my least favourite holiday is because, how old would I have been? I would have been 7, I think. 7 or 8 years old. And I specifically remember being, I can't believe I'm going to tell this, being in the elevator of the hotel, going up to the room because I really, really, really needed a shit. and basically not making it in time and filling up my little Speedo.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
I too can't believe you told that.
Yeah. So I shit myself in an elevator.
As holidays go, I can imagine that probably isn't up there. Yeah.
Not great.
Come back next Friday doing more about Nathan shitting himself. That's terrible. Thank you for your vulnerability. For sharing that. Fuck me. Next week we're going to be doing this.
Das Deutsche Bar mit Bang, mit Boom, mit Bing Bang Bing Bang Boom. Change!
Wowee! Who knows? I can't remember. I think I have an idea. Nathan, is it the producers?
You don't just fucking wrap it up, man. You don't need to say. We put in the clips so they know. You don't need this extra shit.
Thanks, everyone. Give us a little follow. We are on Twitter. We are on Instagram. We are also on TikTok. Goes the clock, but the party never stops at the content farm. We are at Another Happy Pod. Give us a follow. Let us know what you think. Suggest a thing that you would like us to talk about. Unless it's The Last of Us, we'll get round to that eventually. Sorry, everyone. Again, my bad. Give us a little review. Nathan, how do they do that? I don't know.
This episode broke me, man. You go to your podcast app of choice, you go to the rating and review system, whatever it is, you give us the top one, not another one because it won't let you. You got to give us 5 stars, 10 stars, 2 thumbs up, 1 big old dick, whatever it may be. Just give us the top rating system thing, and then slag us off in the comments. We don't care, but just whatever, just fucking do it now.
Yeah, bitch. All right, bye everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Goodbye. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye.
Shut the fuck up!
Goodbye, everyone.